Hi folks, hope you're all doing fine. In this video I'm back to talking about rugby, and I know I'm a little late to the party with this video in relation to the new law variation trials that were put in place from the 1st of August, and they've been tried at the start of the Rugby Championship so far. Rugby Championship still going on, of course, and to mixed effects from what I've seen. I only watched the entirety of the opening game, New Zealand against Australia, and some of these new law variations were tried at times, but yeah, I'm just going to go through them and give my opinions on them. I'll leave a link to World Rugby's page in the description below, and that'll give the full descriptor of what the laws are, but I'll also screenshot them as I go through them. So anyways, let's go through them, shall we? There's 4 laws that have been tweaked, trialed, whatever you want to call it. The first one connected to Law 18.8. If the team in possession kicks the ball from inside their own half directly into touch inside the opponent's 22, they will throw into the lineout as a result. The ball cannot be passed or carried back into the defensive half for the 50-22 to be played. The phase must originate inside the defensive half. Now, this law's primary intention is to encourage the defensive team to put more players in the back field and create more space for the attacking team. And I can see the logic behind it, and also awarding attacking teams as well who put a good kick in behind, like drill a grabber kick along the ground and it goes 50 metres, etc. into the opponent's half, and rewards them for that, and obviously encourages defenders to defend their own 22 more and give more space to the attacking team. And I'm somewhere in the middle of this, because I personally think the laws should be that the defensive line should maybe make it a metre behind the back foot of the ruck. Once the ruck is formed, the defenders have to be at least a metre or 2 behind the ruck, and that would be another way of clearing up space as well. But I understand why they've gone down this route, considering the game has become so defence orientated. It's basically become Rugby League 2.0 in this regard, and there's obviously less room for attacking teams to really get into space. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But if it does encourage more attacking rugby, and we actually see players moving the ball through the hands more, I'm all for it. The second one is in relation to the goal line dropout, and the trial being if the ball is held up in goal, or there's a knock-on from an attacking player in goal, or an attacking kick is grounded by the defenders in their own goal, then play restarts with the goal line dropout along the goal line. In situations where I think there's been a held-up try, I'm absolutely in favour of this, and replacing the scrum. I think that's a safety thing as well, and it does encourage the attacking team to get more of an opportunity to actually play rugby and put pressure on the opposition. So and also reduces the risk of injuries happening in scrums. So yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm a bit I don't know about it in relation to long kicks and then the touch behind the goal line, if it's fair to have a dropout on the goal line itself, considering where the kick is. But also, I think this could encourage defenders to play out from their own goal line more, again, at times at their own risk. But if they've got a bit of space, it would encourage, I think, a lot more open field rugby. So that's something that could work, definitely. I mean, I'm definitely in favour of it from a safety point of view with the scrums, as I said. So, yeah. And obviously, I mean, even this primary intention says the opportunities for the counter-attack being created, which I'm, interested to see how it goes. So, on the whole, I think I'm in favour of it. I know it was tried at the Rainbow Cup, but I think we'll see how this goes. And again, if it encourages more ball in hand, I'm absolutely all for it. The third one is the one-player prelatched. The trial to recognise the potential for one-player prelatching, prior to the contact, but this player must observe all the requirements for arriving player, particularly the need to stay on their feet. Again, I think this is more a fairness thing, making sure they're supporting their own body weight as they're going to the contact, and obviously for referees to be more observant in this situation, as it says in the primary intentions, to be consistent in the managing of the one-person pre-latch player. Whereas, you know, if there's more than one happening before the contact, obviously that gives what you could say an unfair advantage for the attacking team over if it's one or two tacklers of the defensive team. So, yeah, I mean, obviously the sanction of it is not made entirely clear. I think if it's more than one, then yeah, it would constitute a penalty. But we'll see how it goes. I think this is just more an observation kind of thing than you know, anything that's changing anything drastically. And the final one is clean out and safety of the jacklers. The trial to introduce a sanction for clear-outs which target or drop weight onto lower limbs to reduce the risk of injuries to players being cleared out. Now, this one I'm absolutely in favour of. I think it's going to enforce players who are clearing out to do it a lot more safely. I think to make sure their technique's a lot more proper because we've seen at times, you know, players when they're just cleaning out. Like Xander Fagerson, the Six Nations is an example where they just go in, like, you know, sort of towards the head area, when they, you know, I think they should be trying to go in lower as best they can. And we've seen other incidences where players are just so desperate to just clean the jackler out, they forget their technique. And I think reinforcing that is absolutely the right way to go about it, and it is both safe for both the players who are cleaning out and obviously the players who are jackling as well. So this is the one I am absolutely in favour of. No arguments from me. And yeah, so hopefully it can encourage a safer game and reinforcing proper techniques in those situations. The final thing I want to touch on in this video is about the news that's come out about the letter that World Rugby has been issued by a number of ex-players in relation to substitutions happening, and basically encouraging rugby to go back to more the ways of only substituting players if they're injured, and running the risk of players dying on the field, as far as dying on the field if there are tiring bodies on the field, and then fresh legs come on and the collisions are like that, and it could pose a big risk to the more tired players. And I fully understand the sentiment of where this is coming from, but I'm not 100% in agreement. I think a big issue in relation to this is just how big the players are now, especially in the professional game. You know, sort of where collisions are just absolutely like, you know, sort of two double-decker buses clashing together at 100 miles an hour sometimes. That might be a slight exaggeration, but you get the sentiment of where I'm coming from. But I mean, my theory behind this is I would do away with the all eight substitutes being allowed to come on at any one time in the game. I would reduce the tactical substitutes to 2 or 3 tactical substitutes max, and the rest of the substitutes that occur obviously down to injury or you know, sort of or you know, or obviously HIA or blood injury. But no, 2 or 3 tactical subs maximum, and I think that should be something that would help this along. But also focusing more on rugby being a skills game where you're playing with ball in hand rather than a massive big physical collision game, which I think we've gone far too down that road. And the rugby, like, that makes us all want to watch it is the game where, like, obviously you still have the physicality, absolutely, but you want to see players throwing the ball around, trying things, keeping ball in hand, and, you know, sort of, and getting the techniques right in that regard, rather than just, like, you know, sort of big brutes smashing into each other. So yeah, I think the idea is there, and I'm all for changes, but I do think tactical substitutions to a small degree could remain in place as well. Anyways, that's all I've got to say here, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you later on.